ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Tech Showdown. My name is Kevin, this is my co-host Teddy, and today we're going to be putting the Asus Strix GeForce GTX980Ti, so the old king. And this is going to be going up against this Gigabyte G1 Gaming GTX1070. So this one is quite interesting because the 1070 is coming in at a really good price. Right now in New Zealand, it's actually cheaper to buy this than the 980 Ti. However, depending on where you live, I've seen that a lot of 980 Ti's are now on special. You can get them very cheap. So a lot of people are wondering, which one's better to go for, the 980 Ti or the 1070, especially if where you live, they're exactly or around about the same price. So let's jump right into it then with the GPUs. So over on the 980 Ti, it's coming with the 28nm GM200-310 Maxwell GPU, which is basically a cut down version of what you would find in the Titan X. Whereas over on the 1070, it's a cut down version of what you find in the 1080. So it's coming with the 16nm GP104 Pascal GPU. And that's giving you 1920 CUDA cores, whereas that Maxwell GPU on the 980 Ti is coming with 2816 CUDA cores. So there is quite a vast difference there in terms of the CUDA cores. Now there's also a vast difference in terms of the speeds. So I don't overclock them for this benchmark, so this is like as they come straight out of the box. The Asus Strix 980 Ti boosted all the way up with GPU Boost 2.0 up to 1379 MHz, whereas the G1 Gaming 1070 with GPU Boost 3.0 went all the way up to 2025 MHz. That's really, really, really high. So yeah, really good job there from the 1070. But this 980 Ti is no slouch. That's way higher than reference for a 980 Ti. So that's really good also. Now TDP wise, big difference here too. 250 watt TDP for the 980 Ti compared to a 150 watt TDP for the 1070. So the 1070 is definitely going to be way more power efficient than the 980 Ti. Now memory wise, so the 980 Ti is coming with 6 gigabytes of DDR5 memory at 7010 megahertz on a 384-bit memory bus. So it's basically got half of what the Titan X had. The 1070 on the other hand is coming with 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory at 8000 megahertz, so 1000 megahertz faster on a 256-bit bus. So a win there for the 1070 also in terms of memory. Now let's talk about the coolers just a little bit. If you want to know more about all the features of these cards, I suggest you go and watch my unboxing and overview videos on these graphics cards. So this is the Strix cooler, which we've been talking about for a while since this card came out. As you can see, it's enormous. It's very big. Triple fan design with huge aluminium heat sinks under there and absolutely gigantic heat pipes the whole way around. It takes two 8-pin power connectors, has a nice large backplate there. I really like it, but as I said before, it is massive, so make sure it's going to fit in your case. The Strix logo on the side lights up as well. Just white light through the red, so it still looks quite good. But yeah, this is a massive cooler, and it does a really good job because the 980 Ti was an extremely hot running chip, the Maxwell chip in it. Now this G1 Gaming 1070 by comparison is around about the same length, but it's a lot thinner and it's just a lot smaller of a graphics card, which is kind of be expected. The 1070 isn't going to be anywhere near as hot of a chip as the Maxwell chip in the 980 Ti. But yeah, still triple fan, has their direct heat pipe touch on the GPU itself, and this is still a good cooler. We've used it for a few showdowns now. Has a very nice backplate there. This Gigabyte logo on the side also lights up. Both of them have their fan stop technology, which means the fans will turn off once they're below, if the GPU is below a certain temperature. So yeah, both of these coolers I really like, and I would recommend them to anybody out there if they are looking for either of these graphics cards. Both of these coolers are extremely good. So let's jump right in then to the benchmarks and see how these cards perform. So of course we did it 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, and through a range of different games, some synthetics, and also of course the games themselves. So let's jump right in and see who wins. So as we can see from the benchmarks, the 980 Ti actually wins by about 5 frames per second average. Now that's probably not enough for anyone to actually notice. As you can see at 4K it was even closer, so even at the higher resolutions you're not going to notice anything between these two cards. And take it from me, I've had the 980 Ti in my rig and I've had the G1 Gaming in my rig 1070, and yeah, I've been playing the same games with them and I haven't noticed any difference between them. And I do notice, because when I chuck the 480 in like I have in now, I do actually notice it quite significantly, the performance difference, because of course my games are left at the same settings. So yeah, but yeah, a win for the 980 Ti. Now a lot of you out there might be going, well, how come you're in your testing the 980 Ti wins, I watch so-and-so and they're testing the 1070 wins. Now this is something interesting I've noticed about some of the reviewers out there. They're comparing reference 980 Ti's, which were horrendous in terms of thermal throttling, against sometimes non-reference but also Founders Edition 1070s, which do not thermal throttle. They don't get near to the limit. From my testing, Founders Edition 1070s go to about 79 degrees Celsius, and they sit around there, so there's no thermal throttling. However, a reference 980 Ti will thermal throttle quite badly. So unless they're raising those thermal limits, it's a throttling 980 Ti against a fully working, proper going 1070. And also, I've seen that they do very specific games sometimes, or specific resolutions, in which it shows that the 1070 will either tie with the 980 Ti, or it will beat it. So that's what I think. This is a very raw benchmark. These are done on the exact same drivers. They're running the same drivers. And you can see for yourself through the resolutions what the difference is. So yeah, win there for the 980 Ti. However, it's probably not that much of a noticeable win, but it is a win nevertheless. So let's move on from that then to temperatures then. So, performances and everything. What about the temperatures? So most of you can probably predict what is going to run cooler. The 1070, lower TDP, obviously much more newer chip, and it's this is a really good cooler attached to it also, and you would be correct. So I took my temperatures when I was doing the Unigine Valley benchmark on the Extreme HD preset. So the highest the 980 Ti went up to was 72 degrees Celsius at 43% fan speed. And the highest the 1070 went up to was 62 degrees Celsius at 41% fan speed. So you can see the 1070 there a whole 10 degrees cooler than the 980 Ti. But to be fair again, this is very good temps out of the 980 Ti. 72 degrees is just fine. That's really good. It's going to give you a hell of a lot of room as well for overclocking on either of these graphics cards. But yeah, temperatures wise, I was impressed with both, but it is still a win there for the 1070, which is what we come to expect given that this is a much newer GPU in this graphics card. Let's move on now to noise. So both these cards are extremely quiet. Just from me personally using them for all my different games and stuff like that, I didn't notice any difference between them when they're in my rig. I mean, maybe if I took my side panel off and maybe leaned my head really close, I might be able to judge maybe a tiny bit of difference there. But honestly, for all intents and purposes, if you buy either of these graphics cards, you're going to be very happy in terms of the noise. It's very low. But as always, I'll let you guys judge for yourself, although you may need to turn up your volume a lot because they're both very quiet and, just to tell the difference between the two. But yeah, this was done during the Unigine Valley benchmark in the same part of the benchmark. First, we'll do the GTX1070 and then we'll follow it up with the 980 Ti. So there you go. Honestly, perfect in terms of noise, perfectly good. Yeah, you're not going to have any trouble here with either of these graphics cards. But if I had to give it one way or the other, I suppose I'd give it to the 1070, but only by a hair. Like, there's not enough difference to really warrant any of them. But if I have to call it either way, I'd probably just go with the 1070 in terms of noise. Which brings us now to the conclusion, which is a slightly difficult one for me to judge because I don't know what these prices are where you live and what they're going for and everything. So I'll try and make this as broad as possible so it makes as much sense to you as possible depending on where you live in the world. So let's say that both of these cards are exactly the same price where you live. Say they cost, I don't know however much, say $600 Canadian or whatever they cost, or $500 or whatever it is, then it's hard to say. The performance difference is quite minimal, but the 980 Ti still wins. So I would normally say the 980 Ti. However, there are a lot of features and upgrades on the 1070 that, just all the new features that Pascal brings, and also all the new I/O features, coming with DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0B. And it's very hard for me to say. So I would honestly put it as, if you're a person that thinks they're going to take advantage of a lot of the features that are coming with the 1070 and Pascal as a whole, then look at the 1070 and probably go for that over the 980 Ti. However, if you're a person that doesn't care about any of that sort of thing, all you care about is performance, then maybe go towards the 980 Ti. However, I would still probably say the 1070 just because you get slightly more memory, it's got better features and all the rest of it. So if they're exactly the same price, go for the 1070. However, and if the 980 Ti is more expensive, like it is here in New Zealand, then definitely go for the 1070 over the 980 Ti. However, if it's cheaper where you live, if the 980 Ti here is, say, $100 cheaper than the 1070, you know, on some mean special or something like that, then I would start to seriously consider the 980 Ti, because it is getting slightly better performance. And if you're not, especially if you're a person that's not going to take advantage or don't care about those features of Pascal, then yeah, I would just go for the 980 Ti if it's a bit cheaper than the 1070. And that's about the best way I can put it for you guys without, you know, without it getting too complicated or trying to, you know, you got to understand where I'm coming from with this video and trying to give you guys the best consumer advice I possibly can. Now, I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already, and like the video because it makes me and Teddy very, very happy. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.